Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Naughty Neighbours. First up we have, my neighbour lets her cat use my flat as a litter tray. Hi all, I'm looking for advice on how to proceed with my rather inconsiderate neighbours. For context, I'm 28 and female, live in a 3-story flat building on the top floor with my partner and 2 toddlers. We live in a UK council and housing association building, so our local town's council is in charge of our building. Our flats have small balconies and storage cupboards outside on the back of the building. The building door and hallway goes down the middle of the building, and then there is a flat on either side that mirrors each other, which means my balcony and my neighbour's balcony are right next to each other, with a thick brick wall between each balcony for privacy. Our building does not allow pets. My neighbour next to me has 2 cats against the council's pet policy. In all fairness, I couldn't care less if they had pets or not, nor am I typically one to tattle on people for breaking the rules, especially considering I have also broken the council's rules before. Context here not really required, but for context, I painted my front door pink, which does not harm anybody, and is not a safety or hygiene concern. Because my neighbour has cats, you'd think that naturally she would have a litter tray, etc. for the cats to do their business. She does not. Instead of providing her pets with a suitable place to do their business, she lets them out onto her balcony. These cats are outdoor cats and like to explore, so when they're outside, they do not stay on her balcony alone. My toddlers have toys and furniture on my balcony that they like to play with when the weather is nice. We also keep a number of tools on our balcony, locked away, as there is not enough storage space inside. Now that I have the context out of the way, my neighbour's cat jumps across the wall to my balcony every day, and marks their territory and shits all over my balcony, including right in front of my back door. They have damaged my drill and other tools by peeing over my belongings, and ruin easily around 80 pounds of children's toys. The first time this happened, I let my neighbour know, and she apologised, and said that firstly she'd get a net so that the cats couldn't jump across anymore, but her partner would also come round and clean my balcony. A net was not purchased at any point, but her partner did clean my balcony on this occasion. This has since continued repeatedly for the last 18 months. They've cleaned the balcony a total of 4 times and now have stopped responding to my messages and ignoring me when I knock on their door. My partner and I have attempted to put up a net ourselves, not that I should have to, but due to the damage on our side of the wall from the previous tenant, the wall crumbles when touched. The net did not stay up for longer than 24 hours. My partner bought spikes to try to prevent the cats from jumping over against my wishes. I don't like the cats using my balcony as a toilet, but I don't want any harm to come to them. This made no difference. My partner has started flinging the poop back over to their balcony, and has even put in an Amazon box and left it outside their door. I've also made a complaint regarding this to the council, who've ignored my complaint. I'm not sure what else I can do to stop this. Does anybody have any suggestions? Thanks. Edit, my partner made the decision whilst I was out to leave our balcony door open during the heatwave the UK experienced last week. As we very rarely use our balcony because of the cat situation, I put my kids' backpacks in front of the door so that they're out of the way, as our hallway is quite small. I went to get something out of my oldest school bag to find that their cat had peed in and on his bag. After a week of discussion with my neighbours, they are refusing to replace this school bag after agreeing initially that they would. Due to the material of this school bag, if I put it in the washing machine, it will ruin the bag. They've claimed that they cannot afford it, but they're literally ordering £40 worth of Dominoes almost every day. One of them has just taken a trip to London to see a West End show. I wonder if it was Beetlejuice. I'd like to see that myself. Which they posted all over their social media. I'm beyond past my breaking point, and the council will not do anything regarding it. They have not even answered my complaints. Just clarifying, due to a complaint, my kids' backpacks are not on the balcony. They are in front of the door inside. I think all you can do here is one of 2 things. Get on at the council, report that you need a repair, and keep doing that until they actually do it. And then you can put a net up, then that'll fix the problem. Or keep keep calling them and complaining about the behaviour of the tenants. I think the most peaceful solution here would just be to try and get them to repair the damn wall so you can put a net up yourself, and then you can just get back to ignoring your neighbours and living your life. As you say, it shouldn't be on you to do that, but it's probably the most likely solution. You're more likely going to get them to fix a broken wall than you are going to get them to go to the effort of sending letters and maybe even kicking people out eventually. Good luck with it. Alright. Story number 2. Should I throw notes in letterboxes? By MacLeod. I live in an apartment with an amazing balcony. Basically, the houses of the surrounding streets make a big U-shape, so the balcony overlooks a green space made up of everyone's backyards and gardens. Only problem is the kids in them, or rather the brats, because we've got perfectly behaved kids living in this little anonymous community of houses. But unfortunately, one house in particular is home to an absolute nightmare of a family. I have no idea what they look like or anything, as I said. The backyard area is pretty large and there's a garage in the way of my sightline. But boy do I know they exist. Once it's nice and warm, I love spending time on the balcony, especially for work, since I'm writing my thesis from home right now, and we made this space so cozy. But the soundscape is annoying, to say the least, and of course I need to focus. Kids screech while playing, which neighbours' kids directly next to us tend to do, and even though I'm a cranky, child-free bitch, for life, respect, I'm not about to embarrass myself by acting like a Karen. Living like this means accepting that other people want to use their space, and kids do get noisy in the kiddie pool. Sure. But this family is a different level. They have at least one toddler, probably 2, and the amount of tantrums they throw in the span of a few hours is crazy. Literally screaming at the top of their lungs, the type where you just know they're turning red, the annoying for attention screaming that toddlers sometimes do, screaming for their mom to show her something constantly, constant fighting, and it's almost like the parents don't hear it or ignore it or leave them outside because they'll go on uninterrupted for minutes at a time, and you'll never hear an adult's voice. Last summer, I toughed it out in a 30 degree Celsius Fahrenheit. It's like 90, I think. Pretty sure it is. Hot like peak summer desert type heat. Because I'm a summer creature, and I kid you not, I heard a baby cry for like 30 minutes from the direction too. Not the typical toddler attention cry, an actual baby that should not be audible outside in this type of heat. Overall, it's a nightmare, and even though I'm sort of level-headed, this had me close to yelling something about taking the kids inside and being considerate several times. Which is also not exactly an elegant solution, but seriously. The kids started screaming again just now, by the way, and I can feel how I'm getting annoyed instantly. I decided not to have kids, so I wouldn't have to deal with this bullshit. Now my neighbours decide they need to not parent their hellspawn out where everyone can hear their failure. Cranky, as I said. So, I've been considering putting little notes in the letterboxes of the apartments that could be the culprit. As in, hey, we all want to enjoy the outside space and kids do be noisy, but sometimes tell them to keep it down or take them inside instead of letting them practice their future heavy metal career outside for up to an hour. Yes, an hour of screaming has happened. I considered calling the cops for a wellness check, to be honest. Do you think it would work? Would you go through the work or expect no change? Any advice? I'm also taking commiserating. Clearly I needed to vent about this. Well, it doesn't sound like you're in the US, because someone mentioned in the comments that might be illegal in the US, putting notes in boxes, if you're not a mail person. It's not illegal in this country. I mean, you can put anything in through a letterbox or in a mailbox. People do it all the time. That's what junk mail is. You could try it. I mean, you're going to be putting them in everybody's boxes, though, because you don't really know who these people are. You hear noise like that again, though, for like an hour at a time, definitely call the cops for a wellness check. That ain't right. No point calling CPS, since... Well, I suppose you could call CPS, tell them there's a kid been left out in the sun crying. They might come out and check it out. Then they definitely know who these people are. But yeah, I don't think it would hurt to try. I wouldn't expect an outcome definitely, though, because they obviously know the noise their kids are making. They just don't want to deal with it. Or they're numb to it, because they're not parenting their kids properly. Best of luck to you. Story number 3. Advice needed. Almost certain my next door neighbour is dealing. I need to know what exactly I need first before going to the police. I am in hell right now. By Competitive Top 6412. I'm losing my mind. I genuinely feel so unsafe in my own home. After a month of living here, the neighbour was having a meltdown, naked, blocking the entryway, and threatened me when I went to see what the fuck was going on outside my door. I was polite. I wasn't going out with any aggression, and my partner was at work, so I was alone. I made a post about it, mid-panic attack, but have since deleted it. I called the police and got nothing from it. I have literal crackheads I've seen in town, in alleyways, in doorways, in big groups, and fighting, etc., etc. Stood right outside my door, knocking consistently for hours from anywhere between 2 to 7 a.m. And he doesn't answer it, so it keeps me awake, and I can hear their snorting and shaking, and most of them sound completely incoherent. I have videos of them knocking, and stood there. From last month I've started making notes with times and try to video it. I'm looking into getting a peephole camera so it isn't obvious, and then I don't have to stand on the other end of the door trying to video it through the peephole. But I'm poor right now, so can't. And I don't want something as fat as a Ring camera, because I feel like it's begging for trouble from them. This morning there was someone knocking from 6 a.m. to 6:30. I had enough, so I shouted through the door that I'm trying to sleep, and he's not going to answer if he hasn't already. No response. Heard another knock, so I opened my door with the latch and said basically the same thing. I'd never seen the man before, but he looked ill. When I opened, as in drugs, tried to say he was knocking on him to get him up to go to work. Blatantly a lie, and the neighbour got back at 4 a.m. slamming around. Now, to be fair, if he's dealing drugs and that's a client, they are technically trying to get him to go to work. After I shut the door, about 1 minute later, he then proceeded to slam the entryway door and shout, "Thanks for fuck all." Neighbour's name. A time before that one, a man started knocking at 1:30 a.m., was aggressive. It went on for half an hour till a woman had turned up. Then another one. They were completely incoherent, and nothing they said made any sense. I was videoing through the door. One had a phone in one hand, money in the other, swaying lows, and yeah. So, I can't really help but think what I'm thinking. I obviously have notes and a few videos of the people stood in the hallway. I've been brushed off every time. I've tried to call about it. So I desperately want to know what I need and how much longer this needs to go on before I can live in peace. Also, I wouldn't give a fuck about any of this if it wasn't literally making me feel so unsafe in my home. I've lived with people who do drugs. I used to do drugs. Most people do drugs. They do? I think I've been missing out. Who cares? I just want to not have violence, shouting, and danger outside my doorstep. That's the only reason I'm doing this. Well, you keep taking notes, keep taking videos. Keep reporting them to the cops by all means. Maybe something will stick eventually. And definitely get in contact with whoever you're renting from, whoever is running the building, whoever you pay your rent to, and keep complaining to them too until something's done. If you can do it anonymous, that'd be great, because you don't want it getting back to you. But just make yourself as annoying as you can until they do something about it, because sometimes that's the only way to get things done in these situations. I truly wish you luck for it with it. Okay, story number 4, Getting It From All Sides by Illustrious Bed 6065. Quite a long story, but I legit need a little bit of validation and advice. I live in a newer development. It has only existed for 5 years, and I've lived in my home since it was built. Week 1 was perfect, as many houses were still empty, awaiting for their tenants to move in. I did not expect what happened in week 2. Across from my house, a couple brought their entire things in a semi-truck, not a U-Haul, a commercial semi-truck. The streets are very narrow in this neighborhood. No one is allowed to park next to the curb, as they're all considered fire lanes. The semi-truck pretty much is the width of the road, so there's no way for cars to pass through. In my case, I couldn't exit my driveway. I figured they just wanted to get over with the moving process and bring their things in one trip using the truck. That was not the case. It turns out the couple are truckers and they have their own semi-truck. For a whole year, the truck lived there in the neighborhood. The man, Happy, since that's his legit and real name, or at least what he said it is, would park half of the truck on top of the sidewalk and leave the rest of it covering the road. This neighborhood has an HOA. It's my first time living in a neighborhood with an HOA. I know the rep they had for being strict on minute things. Yeah, unfortunately, you seem to have got one of the relaxed ones, which is not going to be helpful in your case. I complained many times, but they would tell me it's a city traffic division issue. So whenever Happy left his semi-truck idling with the engine running and blocking the road and my driveway, I would call the city. They would never come see the issue or do anything about it. I felt so helpless, so one day I returned from the pharmacy. I saw the semi-truck blocking me from entering my home. I got out of the car and confronted the man. He's much bigger than me, above 6 foot and 250 pounds. I told him it was wrong of him to leave his truck there for all the reasons I've already explained. He then proceeded to curse me out along with his wife. They only moved the truck enough for me to enter my garage, but then backed up again and left it in the same spot. I keep insisting the HOA, but all they said was that even if they charged them with a violation, they would continue to bring their semi-truck, not if you keep fucking charging them. After 5 years, they no longer leave the truck there, but they do bring it to load and unload. Are they running a business from their house? I wonder if they're cleared from that. For that. Sometimes at 10 a.m., sometimes 4 p.m., sometimes 2 a.m. They're running an illegal business from their house. Let's go back to week 2. To my left, a group of university students moved into a big house with about 6 rooms. So there were like 10 students living there at once. The first week they moved in, they played music 3 nights from like 11 p.m. all the way to 4 a.m. The parties got bigger and bigger, kind of like parties in the movies where there are like 200 people in and outside the house. I'll remind you there is no space for parking on the curbs. Well, their dozens of guests would invade the street with their cars. Many would leave their cars blocking driveways, parking on top of the sidewalks, and even on top of the green areas next to the sidewalks. I would call the police almost every weekend for the first 2 years of living here. They got busted several times, but also would get away with it many times. On one occasion, about 8 police cars showed up and were here for 2 hours trying to get everyone to leave. After 2 years, those students left, and now that house is an Airbnb. Sometimes we do get noisy people, but it's not an issue anymore. Now I will talk about another group of neighbors. This is a family of 8, 9, 10, I don't know. There's so many people I see come in and out of that house. They live next door to Happy. The dad became buddies with Happy very early on. Whenever Happy and his wife leave for work, they let this family, we'll call them the Parkers, they have a license plate that says Parker 7, they let them use Happy's driveway because they do so much parking, to park 3 of their 7 cars. The driveways only fit 2 cars, but they will barrel park another one on the ramp. My issue with these neighbors is how invasive they are. Whenever they don't have access to Happy's driveway, they leave their 5 extra cars on the street, just like Happy and his semi-truck. They don't use their garage because it's full of crap. Kind of sounds like the house might be as well. I feel like they might be hoarders. They leave the garage open all day and the semi open through the night. I find that strange. It is pretty strange sounding. Another issue I have is that the children, ages from 10 to like 19, bring all the other kids from the neighborhood and congregate right outside my house on their bikes with balls, etc. I'm actually writing this post because I'm so fed up. Today I came out of the shower and walked into my room just to see through the window a big soccer goal set up outside, on the road blocking my driveway, and several bikes tossed on the ramp. Through the window I told them to take their goal to the neighborhood park. It's a 5-minute walk, and it has a lot of flat green area for them to play. They were very rude towards me and just moved it off a bit to not block my driveway. I might sound like I'm an asshole or a party pooper. I mean, you sound like someone who just really wants to be able to get their car in the fucking home. And if you think that of me, that's okay. You're entitled to your own opinion. But I think I'm surrounded by very inconsiderate neighbours who don't have a sense of spatial awareness or consideration of others in general. I brought my parents and sisters to live in this neighbourhood because supposedly it was better, prettier, and cleaner than the small apartment where we lived before I graduated. I'm at the point where the only solution seems to move. However, I'm afraid that if I move, I'll only find more people like these or worse. Thoughts? Additional information regarding the semi and street width 6/20/26. Adding info because someone already said I need to learn how to drive. It's Reddit, you get weird comments everywhere. The road is narrow, but it's a two-way street. 2 normal-sized cars can drive through, just not on trash days, because trash containers are left all over the place, so you have to dodge them. When Happy brings his semi-truck, it also comes with the trailer. He leaves it with the engine running for about an hour, so on top of being an obstruction, there's also the noise and the air contamination. When the semi is there, I don't have physically enough space to manage getting my car onto the road. I have to honk until he gets the hint, because I'm afraid of him and his wife. They pretend to be nice people until you try speaking to them. I got called a bitch and told to fuck off by the woman. My car also got hit by the oldest daughter of one of the Parkers. I reversed out of my driveway, and then she reversed out of hers but didn't see me, so I honked, but it was too late. I had to pay $500 out of pocket for the damages in my car because the girl didn't have insurance. That's a crime, isn't it? I reported to my insurance company, and they said they'd try to get me compensated, but never did. I feel no one is willing to help me when I'm in the right, and I don't know how some people are blaming my driving skills. I have a clean record and consider myself a great driver, but I understand putting my story on the internet will attract some trolls, so I won't engage with them anymore. Anyways, thanks to everyone else who did give me positive feedback and ideas to help solve the issue. One thing you might want to consider is running for the HOA board. If you get on the HOA, figure out how it works, you can then actually push for things to be properly enforced. That's definitely something that's worth doing if you live in an area with an HOA. Obviously, the better choice is not living in an area with an HOA, but you do, so you may as well work it to your advantage, given that it seems that they're a little too hands-off when it comes to disruption in the neighbourhood. And the longer this fucker gets away with it, the more he's going to think he's untouchable. And also, be annoying. Keep reporting it to the police. Just anytime there's a violation, report. Have the damn thing towed if he's parking somewhere he shouldn't be parking. Get the number of a tow truck company. Eventually they'll get the message. Obviously, whatever you can, avoid letting them know that it was you. Fifth and final story is anonymous. I've been living in this apartment for a little while now, and everything was wonderful until a few months ago, and a family of 5 moved into the apartment above me. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. I am chronically ill. I have physical disabilities, and sometimes use assistive devices. In January, since I couldn't get upstairs, I mentioned to the property manager that it sounds like stampeding elephants and the children are screaming. This is at all hours of the day and night. There are 5 apartments that are in close proximity to the unit above me, and I talk to 2 of those neighbours on a regular basis, and there are rooms they cannot use in their apartment because of how loud this family is. One of my neighbours is actually sleeping in his living room now and does not go into his bedroom at all because of the noise levels. I cannot nap during the day and have been experiencing more dizzy spells and fainting spells, especially when they do not allow me proper space to park. They were parking in front of my unit instead of closer to the stairs where they would access their unit. Then they would have friends over who would block me from parking, and these friends' visits involved them throwing their children in the bedroom, which is right above my bedroom, and blasting the TV so loud that I can actually make out the words. I believe they were watching Paw Patrol this weekend based on having seen that show with my nieces and nephews. The management finally gave me assigned parking in front of my unit, because my health has been declining, having to walk across the parking lot. Because I haven't been able to sleep properly and my meds have been a little wonky, I ended up getting very dehydrated. Because I have hypovolemic postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, as well as gastroparesis, caused by connective tissue disorder. I have attempted to talk to my upstairs neighbours twice about the noise, and other people have talked to them about it as well, and now during the week they leave the house all day with 3 children under 5, which is not what I asked for, just asked that they stop stomping on the floor and maybe keep the toddler from screaming at 11 p.m. But now it just seems like the husband and wife are being petty, with the parking situation and increased noise again. Also, maintenance has been in my unit when the neighbours have been upstairs, and they asked me if that was normal, and I told them since that family moved in, yes. That I have not been sleeping properly because of it. Also, where I live, 5 people and a dog in a 1-bedroom apartment is not legal. They can have 2 people in the bedroom and 1 in the living room for a total of 3 human beings in 1 unit. I also overheard a conversation that she may be expecting another child. Stop fucking crying out loud. When I bring up my concerns to management, management just says that we are working on getting them a 3-bedroom apartment, and they ask me to continue to be patient. They have been disturbing the complex for 3 months now. Multiple neighbours have been having issues with them. They took a family of 5 and stuck them in a building for all older couples and disabled younger people. All of the children are in the other building on the other side of the property, because the building I'm in is all 1-bedroom units. Even the younger people here have disabilities, so it's not a party group, it's not a loud group. Am I being inappropriate by mentioning to property management because I can't crawl upstairs and tell them to be quiet? I would literally have to crawl up on my hands and knees. Where I used to live for low-income properties like this with the disabled people, they would have a waiting list for 1-bedrooms, a separate list for 2 bedrooms, and a separate list for 3 bedrooms. So when the unit upstairs opened up, they wouldn't have moved a family that needed a 3-bedroom into it. They would have found a single person or a couple that needed it. I mean, your options are essentially just hope the hell they find these people a suitable living arrangement soon, and it might not be soon. It could be a long time. I'd keep complaining. I'd keep complaining until they do something about it. The only other thing I can suggest would be if you look into something called sleep buds, little earbuds with noise cancelling. They're very low profile. I think they have noise cancelling, and you can play things at night that you might find more relaxing than the ridiculous noise your neighbours are making. Won't block out everything, but it should hopefully block out sound enough for you to relax and get a bit more of a rest. Your other neighbour, the one in the living room, might want to consider that too, because the priority here is getting you the rest you need, because you're already experiencing what happens to a body, especially a vulnerable one, when it's not getting rest. I think those are maybe your best options right now. Although I think the people that are running your building should be a bit more cooperative, and those people shouldn't be there. As you say, it's illegal to have them, so as a nuclear option, if it goes on too long, you might have to report it. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's video. Big thanks to everyone who allowed me to use their stories. You know, because of the heat, I actually recorded this video, but I didn't save it. I thought I hadn't had to do it twice. It came out better the second time, but still, you don't like having to do things twice. Anyway, big thanks to everyone who allowed me to use their stories. If you would like to support the channel, you can sign up for my Patreon page, which is linked in the description. $1 or more a month gets you early access to all the videos at once on Monday. You'll also find links to my merchandise store, my Discord server, my Threads account, and my email, which is kingofthecities@gmail.com. That's everything for now, so until next time, thank you very much for watching, and take very good care of yourselves. I've got to go pay some bills now. I got paid. Money hit my bank account just before I sat down to record. So I'm going to go give the money a little wave before it leaves my bank account and pay some bills so I don't have to worry about that for the rest of the month. Bye bye.